Welcome back. You're watching Daybreak. I'm Victoria Rubadiri. Let's take a look at the dailies, what's making headlines. Let me introduce my panel really quickly. To my immediate left is Dan Manzo, Makueni MP. Next to him is Alice Wahome Kandara MP. And last but not least, Honorable Kipruto Kirwa, ANC Deputy Party Leader. Thank you so much for coming in. A lot to get through this morning. First, this glaring headline on the Daily Nation: scandal of 1 billion shillings spilt, in quotes, oil at KPC. Kenyans could be forced to compensate oil firms through pump price adjustments for fuel lost through the Kenya Pipeline Company's pumping system. But the question is, was it lost or stolen? And for how long has this been going on? So this was revealed after a meeting between oil marketers and the Kenya Pipeline Company, trying to explain where this oil actually went to. Now, they said at least for 2 particular pipelines, there were oil spills. Auditors went to those sites and found there was no such thing. So now the question is, was that oil siphoned elsewhere? Could that now, in terms of the burden, the tax burden, be put on the taxpayer? What do you make of this, Honorable Mazo? This is quite a scathing allegation against the KPC. They're at odds to explain where this oil went and who will be paying for it, because the insurers have said, we are not going to cover this because you cannot explain where this oil went.
Yes, you know, the insurance contract is important to see what it covers. You remember in Kibwezi, there was oil spillage which was discovered when now wells turned out to be polluted. And a lot of Kenyans there were injured. And the last time I met this team of KPC was in Makueni when they had come to a meeting to find a way forward on the spillage in Makueni, where this pipeline goes through. And to me, I found it, in my own understanding, criminal. There's criminal negligence in this, and in fact, the officers and staff who are responsible should first of all be charged in court, resulting of which they will lose their jobs. So I think there's dishonesty in it. You cannot be able to establish how much has been spilled, how much is lost, whether stolen, whether siphoned. They don't have proper data yet. Very brilliant and educated people are hired by this organization. Most of them are engineers. And you know, the activities are suspect. And in fact, they have a scheduled flight of 2 helicopters a day to be able to monitor. I believe also technology should be utilized so that we can detect as quickly as possible. But the 2 incidences whereby people were burned down in Islam and whereby people have been poisoned by oil spillage, it should be detected in a day or 2. In those 2 cases, there is criminal negligence. They should be investigated. Others should be charged in a court of law.
We're talking of 11.6 million litres of fuel worth 1 billion shillings, which the company says was spilt in fields or stolen in the last 2 years. Now, the oil marketing companies refuse to have the loss passed on to consumers via the ERC, which has often been used to sanitize the losses. That's a very serious allegation. What do you make of that, Honorable Ome?
You know, like my brother here, Manzo, has said, obviously the entire pipelines are a security, area, and therefore we would expect that reports are regular in terms of the security of the pipeline, and that any spilled oil would obviously be detected on time. This case, as reported, doesn't show that there is any spilled. So is it that the documentation is incorrect, deliberately incorrect? And how would we even be able to say maybe the 11 million litres if we can't even see where it is spilled or where it has gone? I think this is another case of theft and loss to the government. And many times, some of these things, in fact, maybe the Auditor General is the one who has brought it forward, would possibly have been passed over to Kenyans. And you see, Kenyans are talking about being tired about the wage bill, about members of parliament salaries, about women gender top-up. And seriously, the areas that need to be checked is the executive management of resources that are entrusted to them. So I think they should face the law.
Now, the oil marketers, which includes Vivo, Oil Libya, Canal Kobil, have now asked for a forensic audit now to reveal a bit more on what could be happening. Insiders at KPC have been fiddling with the system to record false losses, which are legally covered by what they call the 0.25% provision. And every month, fuel worth 250 million shillings is sold out to petrol dealers without raising any alarm. And so these are things that have been covered under the guise of you know, a percentage that they say, oh, that's not negligible, so we can let that go. What do you make of that, Honorable Kirwa?
Well, it's a deceit, dishonest, and of course corruption. You can't call it anything else. And it is compounded by the fact that you see so many fuel stations with all manner of names, and I don't know, the last time I knew, fuel stations were properly regulated, so that we know the integrity even of those who are operating. Some of this fuel gets out of the country without the necessary taxes being paid. This therefore means the taxpayer is losing twice. He's losing in terms of theft, and also in addition, loss of revenue. And you can imagine when they say they want to pass it again over to us, it is unfortunate, because for the last 2 months, or since the VAT was increased, for every, you know, refilling, it is, yesterday I was shocked that I was refilling at the petrol station, only to see it is reaching 10,000, and yet it is not yet full, when I used to fill with about 7,500. So that direct impact is on all of us, and of course the cost of living is going to be another problem. So squarely, I think the executive need to tighten the noose on those who are wasting public resources. Otherwise we run the risk of running this country to dry.